Today there's coverage on Qatar Airways returning to a market it has been absent from for some time, Cathay Pacific announcing an exciting new route, and there's also developments regarding aircraft orders in an important deal for Boeing, who we know to be under the pump. Let's begin with Cathay Pacific, who have announced plans to launch non-stop flights between Hong Kong and Riyadh, an exciting development for the airline, no doubt. The company says that flights will begin to the capital of Saudi Arabia in the financial centre from October 28, 2024, just in time for the season schedule shift that we see take place. Furthermore, the route is integral to connecting Hong Kong and Riyadh as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. As outlined by China some time ago, this Belt and Road Initiative that I speak of primarily aims to increase trade and stimulate economic growth. The hope is that through this Belt and Road Initiative, there is connections with Africa, Europe, and more from Asia via land and maritime networks, as well as being in the air. Cathay Pacific celebrated the new service launch in Hong Kong. The ceremony was attended by several leading executives from Saudi Arabia, Cathay Pacific themselves, and delegates from the two locations. Flights will be designated as CX-647-648, with departure from Hong Kong scheduled for 3:05 p.m. and an 8:15 p.m. arrival into Riyadh. The return flight departs Riyadh at 10:15 p.m., with the next day arrival into Hong Kong at 11:10 in the morning. The carrier highlights that the operation will be thrice weekly just to begin with flights on Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Cathay Pacific will be deploying its modern A350-900 to Riyadh, and this aircraft configuration will feature 3 cabin classes. The A350s will allow customers to experience your business class, premium, economy, and economy cabins too. Passenger service from Cathay Pacific to Riyadh will complement an existing Cathay Cargo weekly flight that has already been in operation between the two locations. Service commencing to Riyadh later this year is really another fundamental part of Cathay Pacific's broad recovery from the global pandemic, something it is still striving to do. Thanks to new deliveries and the reactivation of aircraft alongside returning demand, the airline has been able to venture into new markets to boost connectivity and its financial position, and they're excited about the prospect of debuting in Riyadh. Over to Qatar Airways, who have actually recommenced flights to Lisbon in Portugal with 6 weekly services to be operated from Doha. These have been added in time for the airline's summer schedule. The Doha-based company previously announced it would return to Lisbon in February of this year, when they said they would look to offer more than 170 destinations across their summer 2024 schedule. Notably, however, a strong emphasis was placed on Europe, where they were seeing lots of demand. They said up to 50 locations would be included. As for the route to Lisbon, well, they will be deploying their 7878 Dreamliner from Boeing on the service, and it commenced on Thursday, the 6th of June, 2024. Lisbon is an important part of the Qatar Airways network. They highlighted the business and leisure elements, and offering flights from Doha is the next important step in developing their European network and covering more of your major cities. Customers traveling from Lisbon will have access to Qatar Airways' wide array of markets that they feature in the global network. The airline's Chief Commercial Officer, or CCO, highlights ports in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, even continuing on to the Indian subcontinent, that will be available from Lisbon via that stopover in Doha. It is that feeder traffic that we've seen so many Middle Eastern companies look to master and leverage for long-term financial success, as well as also trying to get those people to actually stay in Qatar, in this case, and experience what the location has to offer. Interestingly, Qatar Airways highlights that its Discover Qatar stopover packages, continuing on from what I was just mentioning, will be offered, and these will include stays in 4 to 5-star hotels, luxury breakfasts, and overall a stay at an all-inclusive resort, with Qatar Airways of the opinion that you'll be able to make the most of your stopover in Qatar before continuing onwards to those aforementioned regions. Ultimately, initiatives such as these are just some of the many being undertaken by countries in the Middle East that are looking to elevate their overall tourism sector into the 2030s, and with that, there is also a significant focus on the broader aviation industry. This focus shift from countries in the Middle East has increased competition significantly and led to the rapid development of new infrastructure to go with that. Qatar Airways is always going to be facing competition from existing Middle Eastern companies. However, it also has to be wary of the upcoming Riyadh Air, which will be themselves looking to develop Saudi Arabia further. We know to be a very close neighbor. You can let me know your thoughts on those two route resumptions, but let's take a look at a new aircraft order and a win for Boeing, who we know have been under the pump, especially their 737 MAX. Israel Airlines have basically confirmed they'll be purchasing the 737 MAX as part of their own efforts to renew their narrow-body fleet. This order has been a long time in the making and was delayed initially following conflict outbreak in the region. Once finalized at list price value, you would expect it to be over USD 2 billion, but airlines typically acquire substantial discounts when purchasing aircraft, and these are not publicly disclosed. This can be for a multitude of reasons, whether the airline has a fantastic relationship with the manufacturer, or just generally the manufacturer believes that the order is important for them and they'll offer the best deal that sometimes is better than the competitor's offering. Deliveries for the MAX jets will commence in 2027, and following negotiations, the 30 or so aircraft will then be delivered over a multi-year period. The latest order, as I touched on, is a win for Boeing, who have been under pressure from regulators and also airline customers following another shaky start to this calendar year. Furthermore, you can also consider the deal a win for the plane maker. Why? Well, because in 2023, there were very strong reports that El Al were closing in on a deal with Airbus. Pretty serious talks to purchase the A320neo family and focusing in on the A321neo as part of its efforts to renew its short-haul fleet. If El had actually progressed with Airbus over the 737 MAX, it would have represented a shift in the company's fleet model. We know them to be a Boeing operator. In 2023, it really did seem like Airbus was the front runner for the contract, but circumstances can always change, and ultimately El had put forward RFPs to both manufacturers, or requests for proposals. Therefore, these RFPs would have allowed Boeing to put forward their best deal for consideration, and like I touched on, maybe it was the price, maybe it was the delivery schedule, or something else in between. Fleet renewal at this carrier will be important when considering their short-haul fleet averages well over 15 years of age, and they will be looking to implement these MAX planes in the future to really boost efficiency for the company across that short-haul network that I speak of. That's going to conclude today's aviation news recap. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Please take care, do be safe. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow, where there will be another one of these aviation news recaps.